For the final time on this fantastic November 5-day stretch, we welcome you to Huntington Beach, California, site of the 2023 World Beach Ultimate Championships. Moments away from the men's final. USA and Spain, as we welcome you back to our broadcast booth alongside Daryl Stanley. I'm Evan Lepler. USA in the semifinals got off to a slow start. They're the favorite in this game, but Spain has ways to fluster the United States if they don't come out hot, like they did against Canada. They really struggled early.
Absolutely. The U.S. coming out of each half, Evan, like some uncharacteristic miscues by that offense. If that happens today, I mean, you start to get really rattled as a team, and you start worrying about, hey, this Spanish team, they attack with such pace on the turn. You know, you can't be holding your heads after making a mistake.
USA did ultimately recover from their early 2-0 deficit against Canada. Spain was down 5-2 in the first half against GB, but rallies against their European rivals. What a run it's been for Spain. But let's go back to yesterday. This was the early USA miscue, Daryl, and Canada capitalized, and USA was in the early hole.
Yeah, I mean, they found themselves down 4-2 in this game, and it was just some heroic defense from Calvin Brown, mostly getting 2 blocks in this game, and we could see that hammer from him to cement that second break.
Up 11-10, Canada had a chance to tie, but Eli Kearns to A.J. Merriman to close it out, a 12-10 win over Canada, sending the Canadians to the bronze medal match. A great start for GB, and look, they're the 2-time reigning silver medalists in the men's division, a 5-2 lead. The Brits were fired up, but the Alvaro brothers, Alvaro Iturmendi and Alvaro Monterde, the leaders of the Spanish offense, they take their first lead at 7-6. And in the game to 12, Spain able to punch in the goal. They are in the gold medal game for the first time, and a huge question is, how will they handle the emotions of this moment? Can they play their best? Can they harness that energy?
You know, I'm not going to put a lot of doubt in this roster because they've got a lot of beach experience. In the U.S., you're building a team around people you hope and think and maybe have played on the beach, Rowan among them.
Yeah, can you speak to Rowan's role as a connective tissue piece for the O-line?
I mean, it's amazing. Rowan was showing more of that throwing prowess throughout the tournament. And in the semifinal, we see Rowan erupt for a 5-goal output as a goal scorer, showing that versatility all over the pitch.
The play of the semifinal was this particular layout. It looked like Benyat might have thrown it too far, but Rowan with the fantastic acceleration to punctuate that point. And that was a huge goal in a tight game with a spot in the gold medal game on the line. And we mentioned Alvaro Monterde, 21 goals, 17 assists. He has just been an engine consistently producing for Spain against whatever defender tries to slow him down.
I mean, look at that strong box out by Monterde. He's been showing, if you look at his stats, Evan, he's been not only a goal scorer, which he was in spades in the semifinal, he's been an assist giver too, just finding ways to make sure he completes these possessions. Honestly, it's tough though, when you got a player that people can key in on like that. We got to see who the U.S. matches up against them.
There's a look at the hardware that these players are competing for. USA came in as the favorite. They tried to get the job done. Spain tries to complete this magical run. They beat France on universe in quarters. They came from 5-2 down in semis. Can they shock the world here in the finals? USA and Spain, the men's gold medal match coming up. The Pacific Ocean sparkling, the sun shining, and the wind whistling. It will be a factor today in this men's final between USA and Spain. Before the game, Spain put that jersey at the middle of the field to represent Sergio Diaz, who could not be here with the team, but they wanted to send the message that he is on their minds as they play in the biggest game of their beach ultimate lives. Evan Lepler, Daryl Stanley, along with you for this men's final to cap just really a fun week of beach ultimate here in Huntington Beach, California. And Daryl, as we get started here, what are the things you're looking for? How much do you anticipate the wind being a factor in this game?
I think a lot. The wind has picked up a lot here today, Evan. And I think for the first time in this tournament, I think we're really starting to look at an upwind, downwind situation. The wind's coming from the right of the wide shot to the left, meaning that Spain right now is attacking upwind. And we'll talk about that a lot throughout this game, Evan.
Jack Hatchett chasing Iturmendi, who's had a great week as a goal scorer for Spain. Francisco Romano, one of the key handlers on the O-line, working in the backfield with Juan Fernandez, whom they call Troy. Chris Kocher gets the Romano matchup on the opening point. Tight window throw, but it works. The key for Spain, sounds simple, but it's not easy, is to consistently get your offense to hold. If they do that, they're going to be in pretty good shape as some pretty big seagulls fly overhead, perhaps looking for Goose Helton's burrito. And Spain, a little bit nervy in the goal line, but able to hang on was Iturmendi. And Spain able to strike first with a clean hold.
Really patient start here from the Spanish, just taking some of these unders and working the field very well. 3 wide spacing. I love seeing the cutters hugging the rails here and leaving that middle open for one cutter or a handler to streak up line.
And Daryl, we've talked a lot about the style that Spain plays, as Iturmendi nearly had a hiccup on the catch. What stands out to you most about their style? And how do you expect USA to try to counter that style?
I've seen a lot of throws right to where people are. You know, a lot of teams and a lot of people playing beach ultimate will tend to lead their receivers out into space. They'll tend to, take advantage of the fact that, like, once you get a step, you can keep that step. Spain doesn't really seem to, we get a dropped pull from Mario O'Brien.
My goodness.
A veteran.
No one with more experience than him on Team USA. USA O-line immediately on the verge of surrendering the game's first break. It'll be Spain's Diego Lorenzo picking up the disc, and 2 throws later, it's Ricardo Fugarino in the end zone. 2-0 España.
What a turn of events. Spain excited to get that break. That's huge. I mean, when you talk about scoring upwind, oftentimes these things can come into pairs here. So we can see Mario trying to feel this pull, perhaps the sun in his eyes.
Stunner. How many pulls has he caught in his life, do you think? Tens of thousands?
I'll say it's in the thousands, probably, right? Low thousands is my guess. And yeah, I'm sure he can count only on one hand the amount of times that he's dropped something. It's going to put U.S. down in a hole, but they've seen this before, Evan, right? The U.S. have been in a hole in a couple of games that we've streamed. A lot of early times they've gotten broken in their O-line, putting a lot of pressure on that defense to try to make a comeback.
Miguel Jimenez to Ricardo Fugarino. And just like in the semis, USA down 2-0. Feels like before the game even starts.
Yeah, it was a first pass turnover in the semifinal, and now we've got another, not even a pass yet, Evan. First catch opportunity doesn't go quite right for the U.S.
As a coach, how do you handle a drop pull?
Well, I try to show a stoic face. I don't want my players to feel as though that there's any lack of confidence in them. Mario has been a fantastic player for Team USA, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that.
Rowan's wide open deep as a couple defenders helped out on Boxley, and McDonald in the end zone as USA with a much smoother possession right there.
the U.S. is now going to be pulling, and Spain going downwind here, right? These breaks or the scores can often come in pairs in a strong upwind downwind game, meaning if you can get a goal going in the upwind direction, all of a sudden you can usually come back and get that downwinder. And so in an upwind downwind game, you could see a deficit there of 2 points difference. But if you can get that first upwind, if the U.S. can get an upwind break, if Spain can get this downwind hold, you'll see that usually that lead stay at 2 until somebody can make that upwind score.
Daryl, has been a number of broadcasts over the past several years where Brian Jones has been by my side waxing poetic about his New York dudes. What can you say about what we've seen from DC Ultimate over the past couple weeks and really the past couple years?
Definitely an ascendancy. They're sprinkled all over this U.S. beach national team roster. It's been really nice to see them get that success on the international stage that they've started to achieve on the club stage.
Fernandez throws it away. One of those DC guys, Merriman, with the interception, and then Calvin Brown did not survey the field behind him, and he threw it right into the defender as he saw Merriman streaking deep.
Really good pathing by Iturmendi to...
Oh, incredible layout grab to maintain possession by Monterde. And somehow Spain leads 3-1 after all that wackiness.
You need these kinds of clutch plays from your superstars. Spain coming out. Iturmendi with a critical block. And of course, he also gets the goal for the bookends, Evan. Pretty common occurrence for Iturmendi.
So it's a bit weird. So I'm going to just play another point and see how we feel. But I doubt that I'm going into
Antoine Davis chatting with Iturmendi about how that last point transpired. I mean, it was an easy interception for Merriman, and he took off. He had steps, but Brown just didn't use his peripheral vision to see what was around him in the transition sequence.
Yeah, I think if I've got full vision of that, you saw Jonathan Nethercutt in the back of your shot. I wonder if he was able to signal to Calvin, hey, look out, this space, something like that. But, that'll be something they'll look to improve as this game continues. A missed opportunity for the U.S. to get that upwind goal, Evan.
Mario O'Brien gonna let this pull drop, and he's gonna let Johnny Malks pick up. The next pull catch is tricky after you have dropped one, and Malks shooting deep. Boxley versus Lorenzo, and Boxley boxing out, using the right hand while losing the sunglasses to pull it in.
Masterful box out by Christian.
And O'Brien with a low laser, but Rowan runs it down to bring the U.S. back within one.
We talked about, as a coach, trying to make sure you project confidence. Nothing else says confidence like asking for a huck right here from Johnny Malks. Christian Boxley, I don't know that he was open, Evan, initially. That's a tough throw.
It's not clear that he needs to be open to come down with the disc.
Agreed. You can see him tracking the Frisbee and shielding off Lorenzo there. And he's able to get that goal or get that catch and be very patient. Mario with a huge break across to find Rowan, who continues his bracket goal-scoring bonanza.
It was a split second where I thought that Mario throw might be too low or too fast and sail out of Rowan's reach, but as we have seen consistently, Rowan McDonald with the wheels to get where he needs to be to make the play.
Wind could have easily pushed that, Evan. You're spot on. That's that direction that the wind is generally going. So, Mario maybe got a little bit lucky that the wind didn't shift in that moment.
Romano brings the pull in, quickly gets it back from Fernandez.
Rafi Hayes on Monterde. Key matchup here.
And regardless of the result of this game, Daryl, it has been a remarkable week for Spain Ultimate. At a World Championship event, Spain had not won a medal of any color before this week. But in every division, they're going to medal. Jack Hatchett with the acceleration to create the break chance here for USA on the deep shot intended for Iturmendi.
Downwind shot probably sailing a little bit further than Spain wanted. Here's that opportunity to get that upwind goal that we talked about, that Spain was able to open the game with.
Spain delegation already earning bronze in the women's division. They took silver in mixed. They're going for the gold here against USA. Alan Laviolette to Rafi Hayes. And swings it nicely. Hatchet sending it, Daniel Lee in pursuit, he's got it.
Rhino to Rhino, stampeding down the field for the upwind break. Spain's still in the driver's seat. They've proven that they were able to score with their O-line going upwind on this first point. I'm not panicking here if I'm Spain. They still have shown, hey, we've got this. We're in the driver's seat here. Let's not let this one bit of momentum change the game.
We spent a lot of time talking about the truck stop contingent on O, but you're right. This Rhino D-line with Rafi Hayes, Jack Hatchett, and Daniel Lee bringing the Portland power to Team USA.
I love the alliteration there, Evan. That was delightful. Jack Hatchett showing not just a runner or a receiver. He's got that finesse throwing ability as well with a soft touch into the upwind that looked easier than it really was from an execution perspective.
And he needs to win gold to match his wife. Claudia Tajima just won a gold medal with the Team USA women's team earlier today. Their collective medal collection at their house is pretty expansive. USA ratcheting up the defensive pressure. Davis and Johnson switch. Nethercutt sets the mark on Dalmau. Nil able to swing it for Ricardo Marquez. And the huck goes up. Dalmau shooting. And the bidding score from Diego Lorenzo.
Great grab as we see this Spanish, what looked like often their D1 line, going out there and getting the upwind hold. Vital hold and strong trust shown from the coaching staff of Spain to use all of their players. When you get that disc in the middle of the field, everything is available to you as a player, and it's always, in my mind, about just trying to keep the defense that's now trying to guard both sides of the field, keep them guessing, keep the disc moving quickly. You don't have to invite Spain to do that, Evan. They're going to move it to the first player that they see, and eventually something opens up as the U.S. brackets and switches start to break down in the middle of that point.
Darryl, it was Thursday morning that USA and Spain met in pool play. USA won the game 13-8. But talking with Brian Jones, the head coach of the American team afterwards, I mean, he felt great about his team because he felt they played virtually a perfect game. And he also said Spain is really good. Like, they are really, really good. And I don't think Brian Jones and Tyler Kinley are at all surprised that Spain is here in the finals to see him again.
In that game, Brian has speculated that he saw only 10 or so of the Spanish players throughout that game, showing only 2 of the 3 probable lines. The offensive unit, according to Brian, had only played that final point, and they were able to keep it that close. Shows you the talent.
Sending it for a yacht, contested, and on the ricochet, a foul was called. Figueiredo able to get a piece of the disc, but it is an uncontested foul, and Yacht will have it on the goal line.
What a lot of people don't always get right here is understanding that there can be multiple catch attempts, and therefore a foul maybe doesn't happen on that first catch attempt, maybe it doesn't happen on the run-up and the setup for the first catch attempt, but on the after Ben, to me, it looked like he dropped it. I think there was a foul on that second attempt.
And we're tied 4-all with Boxley adding to his ledger.
Ben will be pretty content here to have somehow come down with that, or at least to have gotten a foul call. If that doesn't happen, Evan, I mean, that would have killed some of that momentum that the U.S. got from getting that break. They're continuing to put the pressure on Spain to say, can you continue to hold into the wind? Yeah, even as Ben's falling there may even be a third catching opportunity there, Evan. You know, when you're on the ground there and someone's laying on top of you, you can't even roll to try to catch that. We've seen many spectacular grabs this entire weekend on second and third chance opportunities. So don't count that out, folks.
Tied 4-4. Each team with just 2 turnovers in the game's first 8 points. Each team with 3 holds and 1 break.
The Spanish roster is just full of players who have competed in the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships, country championships. Whereas the U.S., Evan, they're looking back to 2017 for the last time they competed as a nation. Oh.
And a tough drop from Alvaro Monterde, one of the leaders of this O-line. A little snafu there for Spain. Can they earn the disc back? It's Kocher and Laviolette giving and going. Laviolette sees Daniel Lee slicing into the open space.
Daniel Lee getting his second break goal.
First lead of the final for Team USA.
Well, Spain, again, you've got this opportunity now. You're going downwind. There's so many ways to frame this so that you don't feel as though that pressure is mounting on you. You don't want to get that going in your mindset, in your team's mindset. Monterde with a second slip. Right earlier we saw a footing error that allowed A.J. Merriman to streak past and get that block. And now we see maybe looking ahead to that next throw and just uncharacteristic drop. Those are the kinds of errors you aren't looking for in a final of any game or any tournament, let alone one here against the U.S. that's starting to roll.
The assist for Alan Laviolette, working his way back from a torn ACL. I think he and Calvin Brown both probably wouldn't have been able to play in this event if it had happened when it was originally planned to happen. Supposed to be in 21 and pushed back to 22. Here we are in 23. Look forward to the next one.
You can see some of that spacing that we were talking about here by Spain. 3 cutters sitting back, and the lanes are big and wide because the cutters are hugging the sidelines, not shrinking the field at all.
Errant throw, but great recovery by Pasco.
And a lot of that upline driving, cutting action that we talked about from the handlers, it's getting them.
Calvin Brown gets a piece of the cheeky lefty backhand from Dilmau. Another break chance for USA. And Brown with a soaring sky. Trying to be careful with the disc after the earlier error. Davis back to Brown. AJ takes off. He's covered. Calvin gets it to Antoine Davis. Sneaking it through to Nethercutt. And the push pass for Davis. USA rolling now.
Calvin Brown settles into games, Evan. Seems as though he makes, and at least in the semifinal and here, there's a little bit of an error. And now you get that hand block to just say, hey, I'm back in this, and to work that disc slowly and carefully up the field. I mean, what a fantastic bounce back there from Calvin, and U.S. on a move here.
6-4 lead for USA. Back in 2015 in the men's final, it was USA and Great Britain. And the American squad with a strong performance to take it 13-7. That was Mario O'Brien celebrating, and then 2 years later in Royan, Mario again involved with Jack Hatchett on Team USA. GB did take bronze here in Huntington Beach. They outlasted Canada on Universe to win it with a Tom Abrams to Justin Ford throw, a familiar combination for European Ultimate. It was 2-0 Spain, Darryl, and since then it's a 6-2 run for USA.
Smart timeout to call here. I think now I was talking about some of the confidence you can keep trying to keep your team feeling, but you know, at a certain point, you definitely want to speak to the realities of the situation. Not to say that you're sugarcoating or lying, but you know, I don't want my team now to look at what we are saying, the positive messages, and say, well, that's not working, coach. We got to do something different. Now you got to come in with something tactical, in my opinion. Don't come back saying, hey, we're with the same message. Come back with something new that people can focus on and that they can achieve as a unit.
How much as a coach would you rely on the fact that they came from behind in semis, so why can't they do it again in the final?
That could be a very good motivational thing to remind your players. I think that's a good one too, Evan.
Brian Jones led the USA Beach team to gold in 2017 in France. Their closest game that tournament was against Spain in pool play. Spain took them to the brink, and USA needed Universe to survive. And there's another mistake from Spain. Kocher, the easy interception. Looking around. It was a contact call, so he's got plenty of time. Back to Daniel Lee. Kocher, backhand. Kearns is there. And USA leads 7-4 at the half. That's the 4th consecutive goal for the red, white, and blue.
Really, we had a situation here. Spain missing a wide open offensive cutter downfield. We see there's going to be a blown switching assignment right there. And that extra defender, and Chris Kocher is a great extra defender to have on the field, taking advantage of the situation, getting a close short field block, and U.S. punching it in clinically as that D-line offense has done throughout this game, Evan.
Yeah, it's been one of the key factors for USA. You make one small mistake and they capitalize very quickly. 7-4. USA after trailing 2-0 in control over Spain here in the men's final. Beautiful day in Huntington Beach, California. Second half underway between USA and Spain. Americans leading 7-4. Evan Lepler with Daryl Stanley. Great to be rejoined in the booth by John Neighbor, gold medalist in swimming at the Olympics in Montreal. John, as an Olympian, you have an appreciation for the highest level of any sport. What's it like to watch the World Beach Ultimate Championships here in Huntington Beach?
It's an absolute delight, Evan, because obviously I appreciate athleticism, but I'll go watch a football game and I'll feel lucky if I saw a good toss or a good catch every quarter. The score is, 11 times I've seen good tosses and good catches. It's an absolute thrill.
It's one of the really fun things about the sport, and an opportunity here for Spain for a break. And again, Daryl, Spain has just not been careful enough with their possession.
Yeah, I mean, there was another great opportunity after Mario O'Brien with a second uncharacteristic, unforced error. But Spain giving it right back.
Disc back to Rio, now Boxley, Tyler Monroe. 4 members of the reigning USA Ultimate National Champs on this line. McDonald, Monroe, Boxley, and Malks. And the DC dynamicism on display.
They're cooking here. I mean, it's wild to see them. That spacing wasn't great, but they know each other's strengths and they can work that into the end zone. So another strong hold from the U.S.
8-4 USA. Wanted to welcome you back to our broadcast booth with the Olympian John Neighbor and the legendary Darryl Stanley as well, Evan Lepler. John, absolutely beautiful day. I mean, Huntington Beach could be a perennial location. I don't know how the world would feel about that, but this has been picture perfect all week long.
No question, and it was really interesting to see the wind picked up in some of the earlier matches, and now it's just ideal. And so we're seeing some really great athleticism, and I love to watch the disc move.
I know you have broadcast Ultimate. Have you played Ultimate?
I have not played Ultimate. I'm not a land mammal. I belong in the water, but I sure do appreciate what I'm seeing today.
What is your lasting memory from your athletic career as a gold medalist in the Olympics?
You know, people say, what's it feel like to win a gold medal? And I can only imagine it feels like climbing to the summit of Mount Everest. On that day, I'm the tallest guy in the world. Doesn't mean that tomorrow, doesn't mean it the next day, but on that day, you know, right there, here, today, on this day, one country will be deemed the greatest ultimate in the world.
Francisco Romano with the score. That snaps the 5-0 U.S. run. John, we'll let you enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks for joining us, and really, this has been awesome.
Hey, keep up the great work. You're fun to listen to and make the game better.
Thank you so much. Darryl, Spain, I don't know if we should say they're back on track, but this is a small step forward in the race to try to make this second half close and competitive late.
Yeah, I agree, but I also don't know that. I'm trying to think through, Evan. I mean, like, I would just do something very drastic here defensively. You're running out of time. You have to do something. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
I mean, what are you thinking? What is drastic in your mind?
Well, you know, I can see a sideline roller situation so I can get strong pull coverage and challenge these U.S. resets. Maybe force a huck to somebody other than Benyat deep. I mean, this isn't the tallest line out here for the U.S. Little things like that if you had a little bit more time, you could coordinate. But the one thing I've noticed, Evan, is these time between points, the shortened halves. It's really challenging to make substantive tactical changes like that on the fly.
McDonald trots it to the line. He's picked up by Fernandez.
Well, looks like Spain's doing a bit of what we talked about. They're fronting everybody except Benyat. So perhaps we're going to see something different here. Challenge these U.S. resets. Make Benyat a thrower.
Will Yacht take a shot? No, he'll swing it to McDonald. Monroe. On target for Rowan. And Monroe all alone. Takes his time and finds Christian Boxley without a defender within 10 yards, standing still in the end zone.
A little bit of some of that Spanish offense that we've seen, right? It's like the U.S. doing their best interpretation of saying if we can switch the fields up, we trust our runners and some of our cutters, they're going to get open, and eventually you see Tyler Monroe finding a huge pocket of space, Christian Boxley following that up, even though Spain was trying to do switching and trying to work as a team defensively. The patience of the U.S. offense was undenied.
You can almost understand it, but it's still mind-boggling to see the Ulti-World Men's Club Player of the Year just standing by himself in the end zone in a gold medal game.
There's too many players to cover. It can be very challenging when you look at that U.S. line. Who do we want to make do what? And I thought the Spain came down with a strong plan there. I'd like to see them continue that, to continue to ask Benyat to make all the throws and do your best to keep Rowan or Boxley or Tyler out of the reset space.
USA was down 2-0, trailed 4-3, but then a 5-0 run to lead 8-4. One hold side later, it's 9-5.
Spain's going to have to look downfield a little bit more, Evan, to keep this U.S. defense honest. They're starting to just really hunt on all these underneath passes as Spain is not looking up and not stretching the field vertically like they were earlier in the game.
Number 99, Ricardo Marquez, has just been hanging out near the back of the stack. Now he's taken off and testing Jack Hatchett's catch-up ability. And as we have seen so many times, Jack Hatchett When he baits somebody going deep, there's usually a reason why.
You know, big throw up here. Rafi Hayes with a strong catch.
Hayes on the doorstep. It's not 10-5 yet, but it feels like it is about to be. And yes, indeed, USA with another break.
Spain has played the U.S. before. They've seen Jack Hatchett. They know Jack Hatchett's going to get blocks. They'll have seen the film of U.S. in semifinals and quarterfinals. They may have even sent a scout over from one of the many Spanish teams here as part of one delegation. It is disappointing to me, and I'm sure to their team, to have tested Jack Hatchett in that situation. I wanted them to keep him honest, but Jack Hatchett, there were 4 other matchups on that field that you'd rather go for than Jack Hatchett in a 30-yard sprint to the back of the end zone.
Some contact on that throw as well. May have been a foul if it was not caught, but Rafi, when he's in the area, it's usually his. And Laviolette to Lee for the second time this game. It's a 10-3 run since the drop pull led to Spain's opening break. There's a stoppage downfield, contact between Lorenzo and Merriman. Both players pop back up and shake hands.
Got a lot of new players out here on this line here. A lot of the defensive stars that we've seen.
And it's a Huck, Pau, Gilles, excuse me. Gilles on the doorstep. Great transition defense from USA to make this last couple throws difficult. Fernandez able to discover Gilles for the score. 5th goal of the week for Pau Gilles, 24-year-old from Barcelona.
That help defense that we saw after the Huck is definitely something to commend. The U.S. had more players up in the red zone there than Spain. Spain thinking maybe if I could isolate my Iturmendi in the back of the end zone one-on-one. They gave him a good 5-10 seconds, Evan. Antoine Davis fronting that and forcing Spain to use all their players to get that goal.
So Spain out there on D, trailing 10-6. I asked this honestly here, Daryl, as a coach who's been in a variety of situations, how much belief do you think there is on the Spain side right now that they can put some breaks together and create some suspense?
You know, it might be low. And I think one of the tricks by any leader should be to go out there and to shout out little moments of success, right? If you can find and latch on to maybe we executed a mark really well, maybe the pull lands perfectly, something to start getting your players hype about, then the belief builds, right? One success at a time. Don't look at outcomes. Look at those little wins along the way to rebuild belief.
McDonald and Monroe and Malks with Yacht and Boxley. You ever seen Rowan McDonald tired? Because he's just churning around this field like he's got an endless supply of energy. Say the same for Christian Boxley, my goodness. Malks to Boxley, and USA calmly walks it in 11-6.
Rowan gets up for the big games, Evan. His legs, his energy, his intensity, his verbal support of his teammates, all of it picks up when we get to these top games. So you're spot on there. But Christian Boxley showing 4 goals here in this final.
Yeah, 4 goals in the final, 25 goals in the tournament. The Georgetown product is on the top of the world right now for DC and Team USA. Spain back on offense, receiving the pull, trailing 11-6. Can Spain coach Carles Fuguet inspire a late rally here after a remarkable week for Spain Ultimate?
Surprisingly not waiting for Monterde to get in the end zone there. That cost about 4 or 5 extra passes so far, Evan.
USA red zone defense has been top-notch. Spain almost back near midfield. Tyler Monroe from the sideline was shouting everything you got, and you saw Kocher bid and come close. But after that, Monterde able to connect with Iturmendi. Alvaro to Alvaro, and it's 11-7 with the USA O-line returning to the field.
Good to see those two starting to finish plays even against immense pressure. That should give some confidence. That's something right there that I'm starting to point out for my players. Maybe run it back with them, even if it is something you haven't done all tournament. Just play those hot hands. Try to hold on to what's working, Evan.
So as USA takes the field 2 goals away from another gold medal on the beach, I'm struck by something Brian Jones said yesterday after the semifinal, when in a sense of relief that they were able to outlast Canada, he just talked about how hard this is. And I kind of pushed back. I'm like, well, you have all these great players. How hard can it be? And he said, we don't have that much time to build a team. And despite the fact that this team was announced like many moons ago, they haven't played together. They haven't fostered that chemistry. They haven't figured out roles. And their opponents have come to play. I mean, the Philippines gave them a great game at the end of pool play. Canada really improved as the week went on. Johnny Malk sending it for Christian Boxley. And the DC duo does it again. 12-7. And the Americans are on the brink of gold.
A set play that we've all probably fallen for as we're trying to bring pressure in tight situations. You know, a really good setup here by Christian to just take a little jab, step under, curl deep. Johnny Malks is keyed in on that and floats one downwind beautifully to Christian Boxley.
And you think, you know, Christian Boxley wouldn't have been on this team if Jimmy Mickle had stayed healthy at Nationals a couple weeks ago. Jimmy is here. Broken finger kept him out of the quarterfinals where Pony fell. But I mean, you think about, you know, Goose Helton here on the sidelines, contributing as our broadcast partner, but unable to be on the field. What the past year has been like for him, but to still be on the beach, able to support this team. USA could potentially break to win it right here. Delrico Johnson, who's got his wife and 2 kids here on the sidelines with him. They've been running around, smiling all week long. And the drop on the goal line sets up the American break. Calvin Brown will stroll over and pick up the disc on this beach for perhaps the final time this week. Brown with a rising stall count switches the fields. Rafi Hayes feels inevitable right now, and it will be Delrico Johnson to catch the gold medal clinching goal, and USA in the men's division does it again on the beach. 13-7 over Spain.
In the end, Evan, this group, this U.S. group with all their depth, definitely showed that they were a very strong side here, beating a team in Spain that is very comfortable here on the beach. But I really think that some of the takeaways for me, Spain, the Spanish program, getting a medal in mixed, getting a medal in women's, getting a medal in open with clear experience, intentionality, chemistry, and just like a play style that's maybe beach first rather than adapted from grass has probably been just the story of the tournament for me. Really, really fantastic work by the Spanish Federation.
Rafi Hayes didn't throw that many assists this week. He had 3 in the 11 games USA played before the finals, but he throws the game clincher. The Americans, Daryl, had a couple turns in the first 4 points of the game and only 1 in the final 16 points as they break it open after trailing 4-3. They close on a 10-3 blitz to the finish line to clinch another gold medal.
You know, we all feel as though sometimes we're playing these teams, we play champions, or we play the team that ended up being the champion. And, you know, you recognize, like, hey, we were pretty close. Hey, we had a lead on them. And a lot of the times, the best teams will find ways to come back from those situations and push past whatever early slow start that they had. They don't necessarily recall that game as being 2-2 or 4-2-U. They start to say, yeah, well, we got our second half, our third quarter, our fourth quarter of the game. We were rolling, and we started to play our style. That's how they remember those games.
Daryl, as someone who's coached a USA team to a gold, what's the balance of relief versus joy at the end of the day?
Mostly relief, I'm going to say. Yeah, I think when
you got to find the joy, though, with it, too, right?
The joy is the journey with those players.
Okay.
You know, as you get to know certain players who were previously your opponents, I think that's where the joy is, right? But, yeah, relief is first and foremost on my mind when I was the U.S. coach.
USA completes their journey on the beach 12-0, outscoring their opponents 155-82 in the final, 13-7 for the red, white, and blue. We will be back after this. A golden day for the United States, and Christian Boxley with another spectacular performance. Christian, congratulations on earning a gold medal here on the beach just 2 weeks after you earned a gold medal on the grass. Hopefully the electronics still work. How's it feel, Christian?
Feels great, never better. Such a special group to join. It takes a group that's talented, compassionate, empathetic, patient to just allow a player to join a weekend, and I'm so happy to be a part of this. This is a special group.
Tell me, what kinds of events were you all doing to try to build that chemistry, Christian, and to make you feel comfortable in that space?
Sure, yeah. A lot of live ball. A lot of our warm-ups actually started with live ball. So get in a circle, everybody has to touch the ball once. Once the ball goes around, headers count as one. You just have to keep the ball up. You can't double hit. And that just brings a lot of camaraderie, some of the biggest laughs. A lot of communication, all that comes from live ball. Hanging out at the Airbnb, just getting to know guys, little conversations, big conversations, all those things brought me into the team and brought the team closer together.
5 goals in the final, 26 on the week, and yet y'all got pushed in the quarters and the semis and the final. What's going through your mind? Down 2-0 yesterday and again down 2-0 today with your tournament lives at stake.
That there's some damn good teams here. The special thing is that a team can come to this tournament and 5 days later be a completely different team. So we played Singapore in pool play. We won by a pretty large margin. They came out in quarters, gave us a run for our money. Same thing with Canada, same thing here. So special seeing players from these other countries coming to this tournament, growing as a unit, and pushing us to our limits. That's what we come here for, and we appreciate every moment.
Christian, was there any teammates that you had this week that you hadn't played with before that you appreciate in a very different way now?
Oh yeah, Antoine and I have had some battles, matching up us against New York, some trash talk back and forth, but it's all love. And I see now in retrospect that all the talk, all the pushing each other on the field, that's all love. That's how he speaks, and that's how he likes to communicate with people. And he's a special player, special talent, special person, and I see him in a new light now.
We see you all in a new light too. It's been a special few weeks, a special fall season for you and your DC boys in particular. Christian, congratulations on taking another gold. We'll let you go get in line to receive another medal here on the beach.
Great, appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Christian. What a player, what a guy. You know as well as anybody, Darryl, having coached him. He's the real deal, and he has lifted his game in a variety of ways coming into his prime, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started working with Christian in 2018, Evan, and I found out halfway through that first season, Christian's an offensive player. I should put him on the O-line, and that was a really fun growth for him to just do that.
Quickly, put a bow on the whole week for us. What's it been like for you to experience Beach Worlds here in Huntington Beach?
The speed of these athletes, Evan. That was what amazed me the most.
Great fun has been had by so many. It's been an honor to be part of this production team. We congratulate all the medalists, particularly the French mixed team taking gold, the USA men and women also winning gold here on the beaches in Southern California. For our entire extraordinary broadcast crew, led by Aiden Shapiro-Layton and Lindsay Sue, our executive producers, Tim Rockwood and Charlie Eisenhood. For all the broadcast partners, particularly Katie Killebrew, Chris Mazer, Darryl Stanley, and our tremendous production team, I'm Evan Lepler saying so long from Huntington Beach. It has been a privilege and honor to bring you the 2023 World Beach Ultimate Championships. So long, everybody.